Hi, friends. Thanks for joining us. That's too loud. Let me just go. No, let's keep going. Hi, friends. Thanks for joining us. Do us a favor, smash that subscribe button. It really helps the channel grow, really helps the word get out. Benny, where can they find us on social media?
Yeah, you can find us, Ray Benny Sports. We're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Check us out also on Discord and Reddit, and leave us a rating on your favorite podcast provider.
Yeah, we everywhere on that social media.
Yeah.
Threads even, but we just don't use it much.
We even have a website, raybennysports.com if you want to check that out too.
Just Google Ray Benny Sports. You'll find something fun.
Yeah, get us to the top of those rankings.
Oh my goodness. Search. Let's start off with, we got Winnipeg Jets talks, a little bit of NFL talk, a little bit of curling, but let's start off with some Winnipeg Blue Bomber and CFL talk. What grade would you give Kyle Walters from the free agency period? Although not completely over, a lot of the business is over.
Yeah, the big moves are done pretty much. Now it's just going to be filling in spots, and they're doing that, a lot of that, and finding guys, not necessarily guys with CFL experience. So we'll see what happens there. I'm going to give him a B. It can even range to a B plus because I do like the moves. I like the guys they brought back. You got Brian Neufeld back and Kolinkowski on the O-line, just to name a couple there. You brought in Strevy, Schoen, and Oliveira's back. So now, let's see what dynamic this offense can do with all these weapons. And a lot of these guys can be on the field at the same time, right? So, and then back on D, you brought, and I forgot Wolotarski too on offense. Willie Jefferson's brought back B.A. Nichols. So some good moves there, and other guys. Some good moves there. I like it so far. Now I want to see what he can do to fill in this roster.
Yeah, I'm really interested. I already forgot his name. Should have wrote it down, but they brought in a starting wide receiver from Ohio State.
Yes.
I'm really interested to see what he can do in camp.
KJ something? KJ Hill? No, KJ, yeah.
We're getting close. Two brains. We'll figure it out. I'll give him an A. When you're bringing 18 out of 24 starters back from a Grey Cup team, I think you did a good job. It was amazing that he was able to bring back Oliveira and Schoen, arguably both top in their free agency at their position. Of course, that does come with the inability to keep some of the younger talent. But, they kept Brandon Alexander, which I thought was kind of a surprise. And that's no knock to Brandon Alexander. He's been very, committed to the community. He was here all the time while he was rehabbing. He's such a great player. But I thought they kind of played okay without him, with Hallett in his spot. Not saying that Hallett's a better safety. No. But I thought maybe they'd look around for a cheaper option, but I'm glad to see him back. He'll be patrolling the back end of that secondary and be a veteran that Jordan Younger will probably lean on a lot. Guide those young DBs that they have to bring in. But yeah, I think he's just a wizard. And like you said, bring in Willie Jefferson, and then having the ability to bring in Brian Cole, keep him, who's I'm very keen on watching, to have a full season. Yeah, I'll give him an A, the wizard.
Yeah, and we've talked about this in the past before, like with Calgary, what they would do, how they were good in the past of, getting rid of the vets and bringing in the young guys and keep that flowing, right? And obviously in the last few years, they haven't been very good with that. They were better with that when Huffnagel was kind of running the show. So you kind of want to see the Bombers do that as well, right? And they have to make some hard decisions, and they made some guys are gone. But you have to bring in the younger guys to keep this thing rolling, right? You can't keep chasing that one Grey Cup. You want to kind of keep this going and have a winning team for a few years, not just the next year kind of thing, right? So
absolutely,
yeah, he's done a great job. We'll see if, some of these guys were too high in age to bring back, but Oliveira, Dalton Schoen, Strevy, those guys are still pretty young on offense. So I like it. I'm excited to see what that offense can do this year.
Looking forward to seeing that Canadian DB come into Captain Ford.
Yes, and that's the
Ford's brother.
Exactly. Yeah,
that'll be exciting to see. Yeah, I think the real challenge will be when Zach Collaros retires. What will Kyle Walters do if he's still around without that, without the best quarterback in the league, arguably, but still. So,
and while Drew Brown's tearing up the league, right?
We'll see. There's still time. There's still time. Stuff happens.
Ricky Walker's still up in the air.
Right? Who knows what's going to happen with Ricky Walker? But he's said he's not going to sign a CFL contract anytime soon.
So he's done completely? Is that what happened there? I never
He hasn't posted that he's retired. It's just that there was some kind of belief when he said he wasn't going to sign with Calgary that he's not in a rush to sign a CFL contract, or he won't be signing anyone in the near future.
Yeah, that D line may be the one place right now that he's going to have to make a lot of moves on. To me, that might be their weakest spot right now, position wise, because like you say, the DBs seem to be solid with Nichols, Ford coming back. You got Evan Holm, Parker, all that, and Brandon Alexander, of course. So that seems kind of steady. And D-line got to find that other side for Willie Jefferson.
Yeah, absolutely.
And right tackle, obviously.
We were talking about what's his name from the University of Regina, a Ram, Anthony Bennett. Maybe it's time for him to step up, the Canadian on the D-line.
Yeah, Bennett and Haba, yeah.
Which Bombers free agent loss will sting the most? Go ahead.
One of two. Probably. I'm going to go with Jackson Jeffcoat. Just because it didn't end on a greatest note on both sides. It sounded like Jeffcoat was kind of not bitter, but not happy with the communication of what was going on. And I think the Bombers kind of hamstrung by waiting on Dalton Schoen and Oliveira, and then maybe even Strebler as well, even though that contract wasn't too bad. So losing Jeffcoat, I know injury issues, but he still was solid when he was playing, and he had a pretty good year last year, and he was a good bookend for him and Willie Jefferson because they could cause some havoc on those outside. It would have been nice to have him back and even have a third rotational guy in there that could help them out a bit, but we'll see. Hopefully they, like you say, Anthony Bennett and Celestin have hopefully they can step up.
Yeah, that I think will sting the most. Because you can't replace the guy. Maybe you can. Maybe you can. Danny McManus and Ted Govea have found some gems, obviously, year after year. So maybe they find another one. We'll see.
Yeah, we've seen how this defense has not been great when Jeffcoat's been out, kind of thing, right? Willie Jefferson's obviously played a lot, so he hasn't missed too many games. But when Jeffcoat was out, the D wasn't as good, and it's obvious because now you're keying in on Willie Jefferson, and you needed one of these other guys on the other side to step up, which they weren't for the most part this year. So it could end up being a big loss. And like the other one for me would have been Hardrick, right? But I'm hoping now the moves they've made, and they developed Hardrick into what he was. So if they can do that with Hardrick, hey, maybe you can help one of these other guys that you're bringing in, and turn them into an awesome right tackle too. So
they just signed also a very athletic kid from Alabama. Played a few games at tackle, played a few games at tight end. So he has some good feet. But Jamarcus Hardrick was also very good at steamrolling mofos down the field. That's brute strength. That's country boy strength right there.
So, and his intensity. The intensity that guy had on the field every time too. Someone's got to step that up too.
Respect. Hats off to that dude. How would you
rank to Saskatchewan though, right?
We'll see what happens. That's just too much money. The Bombers could not even match it if they wanted to.
It was, man. It was. It's a good deal for them. You got to take it.
And if they play well, then hey, he's definitely worth the money. But just cap-wise, the Bombers couldn't do it.
Yeah.
How would you rank the top three teams in the CFL at this point? 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna go Bombers, Saskatchewan, Montreal. Like I mentioned, Bombers 18 out of 24 starters. The past four, not from the past 4 Grey Cups, but they've been in the past 4 Grey Cups. And you can't win it if you can't get there. And they're the team that's been there, so I'm going to take them at 1. Saskatchewan, all those signings were crazy. Plus Mace, I think the players respond to him more than they will Dickinson. And Montreal, surprise here, I'm going to give Danny Maciocia some love and some respect. He found some players. They've lost some players, but they didn't add anyone high value in free agency, so we'll see. Maybe they pick up Arsenault or Whitehead. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, that's the interesting spot for me on them is wide receiver, right? Because they lost Austin Mack, and they haven't really brought in too many guys for that. And you had opportunities. Rasheed Bailey was out there as well, and maybe because he spurned them last year, they weren't going back to that well. They're Grey Cup champions. I'm going to put them at number 1 right now. They brought back a lot of their guys. They kind of did what the Bombers did and didn't go dipping their toes all over free agency, but brought back, Sean Lemon, Darnell Sankey, and a host of other guys. So, they may be humming to start the season and may not skip a beat. Winnipeg number 2 for me, like you said, great moves, bringing a lot of these guys back. Again, that offense, I'm looking forward to it. The defense may take a step back this year, but we'll see. Jordan Younger, he may surprise us all, and he may be really ready for this position. BC is getting number 3 for me. Again, they got their wide receivers back. They got a better running back with Stanbeck. They just signed Vernon Adams to a contract extension, so things are looking up for them. The only thing that hurts them is losing Matthew Betts to the Detroit Lions. So we'll see if that hurts that defense enough or what happens there.
Yeah, they got to find another ratio breaker somewhere else to replace that. Not only do they have to replace a good pass rusher, they have to replace a good Canadian.
Yeah.
So it's not like they can just go sign AC Leonard and it's all taken care of.
No.
There's a hole somewhere beyond just one player.
Well, and then you got Stanback's American as well, right?
Yeah.
So you don't have that Canadian running back to kind of fall on there. So
I don't get that signing. Not that he's not good. It's that BC just didn't run the ball when they had a good running back. I don't get that. To spend extra money on a running back when that wasn't the issue, the quality, at least from my eyes.
Well, I mean, they were going after Brady Oliveira too, so they must have seen enough out of Mizell or didn't think he can carry an offense.
But
we'll see. Stanback didn't have the greatest of years last year with Montreal either, right?
Yeah, he only showed up. Not that he only showed up. He only got consistent near the end of the year and into the Grey Cup.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's still probably still a damn good player. So I'm not questioning his ability. It's just BC. If maybe they might commit to the run now. I don't know. Rasheed Bailey.
They just signed. Sorry, they just signed all those 3 wide receivers, and now you got to make sure, and they're paying them good money. So you got to make sure you're throwing that ball enough.
Oh no, I know. We'll see. Rasheed Bailey to the Argos. Good landing spot.
I mean, in terms of what was there in wide receiver, yes, because he should be able to be. I mean, what was Coxie is the only one really there. I can't even name another one that's there right now because they got rid of Curly Gittens.
Canadian receiver. I can't remember his name though.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah, great landing spot for him. Dinwiddie's a good coach. Dinwiddie's a good OC. But my only issue depends what happens at quarterback for Toronto, and what if Kelly's gonna get into trouble or not. Kind of with what's going on there. So I like the spot. He can be up, and maybe he can end up being that number 1 or number 2 guy, and help Toronto out.
What a shit show. What a shit show. When you have this sexual harassment going on with your star quarterback, the guy who's had issues for a long time now. Like, didn't he get kicked off of Clemson? And then he effed himself up again in like Buffalo in a bar fight? Like this guy. So it's like hard to not believe that it didn't happen. And then you have the assistant GM making the victim feel bad about opening up a can of worms. Like, what kind of clown show is that? Oh, by the way, Rasheed Bailey, yeah, it's good. And if Kelly doesn't play, I was really impressed by Cameron Dukes when he played against Winnipeg. That's a good QB right there, at least from my eye test. But yeah, what a shit show in Toronto. I don't care if I'm swearing, because it is. That's disgusting. Dude tried to cover up this guy's bad behavior. What a joke.
Yeah, and then that's the thing, right? You want to give everyone innocent until proven guilty, but there's stuff that's happened in this guy's past to kind of make you lean towards, hey, this probably happened again. And now you got another guy covering it up. Let the process play out and see what happens. But yeah, this is not a good look for the Argos and for the league, really. You need to get this addressed and kind of moving in and figure out what the heck, because training camps do start in a few months. You can't allow this guy to come into and play on a training camp, all this stuff, and then halfway through the season at some point going, okay, yeah, this is a problem. You're cut. You got to have this done now or sooner or before the season. But there's a pattern there, so it does not look good.
And don't quote me on this. Obviously, this is off of what I remember reading. But apparently, there's an incident where he's yelling across the room at this athletic trainer. Telling her something about being able to beat her up, or if she wasn't fired, something physically would happen to her. It was really bad.
Yeah. So if that's the case, there's got to be a lot of witnesses to that, right?
There was apparently the athletic trainer right now was there.
So yeah, if you have that kind of evidence at your fingertips already, it should be like, keep Chad Kelly away from everything, even CFL related, not even training camps until this is resolved, really, like kind of like the NFL does with the exempt list or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So maybe do that and keep him away. But if that's happening, there's no way there's definitely a problem there.
Get him out if that's the case. Let's move on to some Winnipeg Jets talk, brought to you by Fahrenheit Airbrushing. Stand out on the ice, pavement, or the field with a custom airbrush helmet or a goalie mask. A local Manitoba business with affordable solutions for any project. Check out Fahrenheit Airbrushing on Facebook or call them at 204-891-7431.
And tell them Ray and Benny sent you.
See, we didn't even rehearse that.
Didn't even practice
Jets
it.
are currently on a 3-game winning streak. And don't forget to go check out Fahrenheit Airbrushing, not just for helmets or whatever, for commemorative items, for championship belts. So if you want to put some cool design on it, whatever.
Yeah, painting bikes too, motorcycles, whatever.
Oh, it's almost that season. It felt like until today.
It's time. Yeah. Exactly.
Stupid me last week. I can't wait for golf.
Yeah. No, you're gonna have to wait a little bit longer.
Jets are currently on a 3-game winning streak, 6-4 in the last 10, 6 out of their last 7 since they were shut out by the Pittsburgh Penguins. What does this say about the team? Are they trending upwards? Are they coming out of this dreaded February slide that everyone was they're like white knuckling waiting for the slide to happen? What are they doing? Is it sustainable?
Wow. Yeah. I mean, once that slide started happening, it's like, yeah, okay, here we go. Right. Bit of a struggle in winning some of these games and the opponents that they played. Again, with Chicago and I can't think of the other one off the top of my head right now. Arizona, who had lost 11 in a row. Right.
OT.
So you went to OT in both of those games, won them early. Kyle Connor scoring both of those winners. So, impressive win against the Wild back then too. That 6-3 win in what should have been everyone was expecting to be a gong show type of game. So definitely playing well in that respect. The power play has got it going. Unfortunately, the 5-on-5 play has kind of suffered a little bit. But that power play is scoring at least a couple goals a game. So that's definitely helping them get through this stretch and beating these teams. But unfortunately, defensively, they haven't been as good. They're giving up a lot more scoring opportunities and good scoring opportunities on Hellebuyck and even Brossoit. Brossoit was pretty good in that Wild game. I know he allowed 2 late goals, but he kept them in that game. So, yeah, it's good to see that they're getting the W's. Unfortunately, there's issues. Perfetti's in a slump. I don't know when the last time he has scored. But yeah, good couple weeks for them.
5-on-5 play is definitely concerning.
Yeah.
It's not just about the scoring either. Like you said, defensively, losing to the Coyotes 2-1 in even strength play. 30 scoring chances for the Coyotes, 18 for Winnipeg. Shout out to Scott Billick on the Sun for that stat. But that's crazy.
Yeah. Against a team like that.
Yeah. Right. But I think they are settling in. That's like the simpleton answer. They're settling in. The injuries, they're starting to gel again. Monahan definitely is finding his place. What a statement he had when he got the hat trick in the first. Holy geez.
Yeah.
Velarde is back to his fun and physical form, and Kyle Connor is scoring when needed, not necessarily at a consistent rate yet, but the touch is starting to get there. So other than that 5-on-5, I think they're turning a corner, and I think these are the Jets that we're going to see for the rest of the year. They're going to be the disappointing moments. For some reason, they still play down to a level of these clubs. I don't understand it. I don't know why. It's not Rick Bowness. This has been happening since Claude Noel. Not that they were very good under Claude Noel, but when they, you know what I'm saying? They're not like last all the time. And when they're playing last place teams, they struggle. But it was encouraging to see the power play. 4 for 9 in their last 3 with 2 in their last games. Like, that's really good. 50% since they went 0 for 22.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and they're sitting second right now in the Central, but have played 3 games less than Dallas. So in terms of percentages and all that stuff, I do believe the Jets are in first in the Western Conference at least. So they're trending upward. It'd be nice at one point to see this 5-on-5 play and the power play kind of come together one day and really smash it up, and to see this top line. I know they're scoring and most of it's coming on the power play, but defensively they need to kind of get back there and back to where they were earlier in the season on that. And then you said Monahan. The one thing is that him, Perfetti, and Ehlers haven't totally clicked yet. I know Ehlers scored 2 goals against Chicago the other night, so it's good to see him get off the schneid there a little bit. But that line needs to get going. I know Monahan was 6, so I don't even think he played that Chicago game, actually. Didn't he? I think he missed that one. He missed Chicago or Arizona. I can't remember.
Yeah. So letting go of leads is also a bit of a concern.
Yeah.
You can't be doing that.
Well, yeah, this one too, right? Both games were giving up late leads, or Chicago was the late lead that they gave up. So
yeah,
Yeah.
Chicago, yeah, it was horrible. They had not horrible, like Chicago was swarming them in their zone, and they're just on their heels when Chicago had the extra attacker and they tied it up. Star performer, I'll take Velarde. 7 points in the last 4 games. Like I said, he's been physical. He's been fun. He's been a factor in front of the net. Dude looks like he's back to form, so I'll take Velarde.
I'm going to go with Josh Morrissey, who actually had 9 points in the last 4 games. All assists, and probably a lot of them came on these power play goals, but solid week from him and performance.
What do you see in the week ahead here with the Blues, Stars, Carolina, and the Sabres starting at home and then going on an Eastern slide, which usually does not bode well for the Jets?
Yeah.
The East Coast is a son of a gun. But how do you see that playing out?
The fact that you start that off with 2 divisional games, right? And a big one on Thursday against Dallas. So
yep.
St. Louis games are always tough. They've beaten St. Louis so far this year 2 times, 5-2 and 4-2. So that's a bit of outliers from the past few seasons when a lot of 1-goal games with St. Louis. Excuse me. So that's going to be a tough one just because it's divisional. St. Louis is kind of fighting for their playoff lives here at this point. But across the board, the stats aren't great for St. Louis in terms of goals and power plays and penalty kills. So we'll see. Bennington's supposed to start. He's been struggling almost 3 goals against and almost close to 909 save percentage. So I would expect the Jets to come out flying and take this one, especially being at home.
Yeah, if the Jets look ahead to the Stars, then they will
That's the problem,
because St. Louis is a team that can beat you. They're still, they're 5 games over 500 or something like that?
Yeah.
They're not rancid. They're still a very solid team. And that's to say, if they look ahead to the Stars, then they'll have trouble. And then the Stars, that'll be every time I think the Jets are going to get their ass kicked, they come out and play a huge game. So, you know what? I'm going to do a George Costanza and do the opposite. And I say they're going to win this one.
They've struggled, though, against Dallas. Dallas knows how to play them well. 2 losses already this year, 3-2 and 2-0, right?
And I believe they will lose, but I've been wrong almost every time. So just for that sake, I'm going to take the Jets over the Stars for sure.
Yeah, I'm assuming Ottinger, he's not hurt right now, right? I don't think. I'm assuming he is.
Dude is prime.
Dude, he's probably the one getting the start here, right? And he has been pretty good. So we'll see. Tyler Seguin may be out. He's day to day right now. So if that happens, that helps the Jets a little bit. But Dallas is always tough, and they can score, and their power play and penalty kill are decent.
What's up with the early game in Carolina? Is it really at 10:30 in the morning Winnipeg time?
No, I think it's 11 our time. I'm pretty sure.
Oh,
where was this again?
Maybe Google was wrong.
11:30 our time.
Google was. I bought my iPhone in Alberta. I keep forgetting that. So it's weird that way. Any which way, Jets are in Carolina with a damn early game, no matter where you are, and they are on the East Coast. I don't think that bodes very well for them. Thank goodness it's not Pittsburgh they're playing on the East Coast, but Carolina is so damn good anyways. They're a tough matchup. Top 10 team. I don't see the Jets coming out with a win, but I'll still take them to win.
Yeah, just looking at this, their power play and penalty kill are both 3rd in the league. They're 4th in the league in goals against, and they can score. Last time they played, Jets won 2-1, but Brossois, stood on his head and helped them there. They're 6-3-1 in their last 10. Like you say, they're at home. The one good thing about the early start is that the back-to-back, because they play Buffalo the next day, but later on, and Buffalo plays also on Saturday, but at 6. So the Jets get a bit of a longer break than Buffalo does, but unless Buffalo may be at home on both of them. I didn't actually double check that. So
yeah. And Buffalo's on a bit of a roll right now.
Yeah, 3 wins in a row, and they actually just beat Carolina in their last game.
I'll take the Jets in Carolina just to lose against Buffalo. Just because at the end of the East Coast trip, they're asking me too much. So yeah.
Yeah, Buffalo, though, another disappointing season for them, eh? I mean,
they came out so slow.
Everyone was expecting them, hey, this is the year they're going to battle for a playoff spot at least, maybe get in and then next year take a next step. But goaltending hasn't been very good for them. And it just all around. It's just the guys. I don't know. It's like Ottawa, right? It's like you keep expecting these teams to finally do it, having these high draft picks and all, and picking some good guys, and it just nothing is clicking for them. It's weird to watch.
The sadness of being a Buffalo sports fan.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yes.
Do you think there's it's true. Do you think there's a different standard for players regarding ice time, specifically Ehlers compared to Connor. No, I don't think a coach has a different standard, but I think more productive players have a longer leash. That's how it is, no matter what sport, no matter who your coach is, no matter what your roster is. I don't care how hardcore the coach is. Your more productive players get a longer leash.
But more productive in which way? They're scoring on the power play, which Ehlers is not getting. If you looked at the stats, and I know Connor was coming back from an injury close to this, but since January, Ehlers was, I think, second on the team in points. So, he has to be doing some very glaringly bad things out there to continually get benched or sat down or have his ice time cut.
Yes.
And to be kind of called out all the time, not necessarily directly, but called out in the media by Bowness when he won't do that again for that top line. He basically almost stuck up for that top line when Murat Ates, I hope I said that right again.
Atesh.
Atesh kind of questioned Bowness on, what's happening with the top line and then them getting hemmed in. He said it's not just them. There's two defensemen out there as well, blah, blah, blah. So kind of threw the defenseman under the bus. And I get it. There's 5 guys out there.
Yeah.
But, the biggest factor is those 3 guys are getting hemmed in. I'm sure they're not playing with the same defenseman every time they're out on the ice, right? So just apply that same standard. Like Connor on the Vancouver game, Tyler Myers' goal. Like he let him walk in. I know it was a bad pass from Velarde, but he didn't try to really hard to stop him. And Connor's been that guy for years where his defensive play has been poor, whereas Scheifele's kind of turned it around this year and his defensive play has gotten better. So I just like to see if you're going to do it to one guy, do it to the next guy as well.
Oh, it's not going to happen. We've seen that time again in the NHL. When you're top sniper, which Kyle Connor is, you're not going to take ice time away for defensive blips like you do the bottom 9. Sorry, not the bottom 9, the 9 beneath them. It's just the way it is, as unfair as it might be.
But you're kind of going back to the way things were with Scheifele and Wheeler, right? And with Connor on that line. But they were bad defensively. Yes, they would score here and there, but they were giving up more goals than they were scoring. And so was it really worth it in the end to keep those 3 together? So has it switched from Scheifele and Wheeler to controlling this to Scheifele and Connor controlling things? Like even the third line, not even just the first line, the third line seems to get their ice time, same amount, no matter what. And they were hot to start the season. But Nino Niederreiter hasn't scored much lately. Appleton chips in a goal here and there. Lowry's always busting his ass, so I have no issue with that guy. But their time of ice hasn't slipped, and they sometimes get more than that second line. So it's just interesting stuff up there, man. And Bowness kind of the hair on the back of his neck got up after this question, like he's not preferring these guys or coddling these guys more than the other guys, kind of thing. So it'd be interesting to see how it goes the rest of the year.
He can get personal and deny it, but that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
I know they don't like being called up by the media, but that's the way it is. And it's not going to change. Shoot. Let's talk about something fun now. Attendance issues, Chipman article, Bettman coming to town. You know what? I'm just going to say flat out, Chipman lost touch with his market. He underappreciated his core season ticket holders, which we are a part of, early. He took that for granted. Yes, of course, he did not focus on corporates. Yeah, whatever. But as an original season ticket holders, like even to see the perks that they have now, that they've just instituted like a couple years ago, where beers are like $9 rather than 14, and you get all these huge discounts now. What was that early? Where was that loyalty early? So it to me, it felt like we got. It was a good time, man. I had great memories there, but the benefits that they're getting now, that should have been implemented a long time ago. He should have been showing appreciation to his OG season ticket holders early, rather than jacking up prices so fast all the time because he knew we were passionate and we were still had the PTSD of losing the team then. And now he's trying to play that frickin' card now. I just think it's trash. It should be on their shoulders. And I hope Bettman is here because they're realizing it's on their shoulders that they effed up, not the fans this time or the time before, to be honest with you.
Yeah, because like you say, when we were season ticket holders, they had a loyalty program. Like you can enter contests and you can, or sometimes gather points to get stuff from the store. but they took that away. And then they also made it harder to get enough points to get something because they kept raising the price point on those things.
Yeah.
No discount. And that was the thing that a lot of us said earlier, that they took us for granted. It's like, hey man, like, we're season ticket holders. I know we're getting a discount on seats, but throw us something. Other places were having players hand deliver the season tickets or giving them a jersey or anything. It's like, wow, it's like, what do you guys need that for? You know, it's like, come on, man. Exactly. Took us for granted. Thought we'd all stay forever, but unfortunately lives change, right? You know, and then people like, but someone else, like, he is personally calling people and asking them questions, according to the Athletic article by Chris Johnstone, I believe. And one guy said, hey man, I got 2 kids now. They're a certain age. They're playing hockey. They're busy. And I'm like, I can relate to that. I don't have, you know, hockey games for my kids happen on the same days as hockey games for the Jets. I can't go into season tickets. And it's hard to pick games because I don't know what the schedules are going to be like. Right. So that kind of takes me out, and I'll go to a game here and there now when I can, and there's time. So curious thing to me is 4 months ago, yes, this was an issue, but came out and said the team's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
And they acknowledged that they screwed up for 10 years. So now, after 4 months, like, have you given up and saying, hey, I did enough? First, you alienated fans last year with that stupid campaign that pissed people off. So you think all of a sudden they're just going to go, okay, yeah, I'm coming back. No, you pissed them off. It's going to take something to get them back and give them time. And yeah, you got a winning product on the ice, and the attendance has started to go up as the games went on. So let that play out. Start calling. At the same time, you're also calling out corporate businesses in Winnipeg and in Manitoba that didn't step up for it. You know, is that going to work for you? Because now what are they going to say? They're going to be like, what? You know what? You're calling us out. I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
And then I was reading something on Twitter where these companies actually they had season tickets. They were trying to do giveaways or contests to give away tickets. And the Jets basically shut that down and told them they couldn't do it. So they were pretty restrictive on what they could do on these tickets that these companies bought. So they, you know, at the same time, they're like, well, forget it then. You know, take your tickets back, do whatever.
What a joke. And also, I'm going to be very critical of the game day experience. Unless I go to a game where they win, or like when we went, because we haven't gone to a game in a long while, and it was Filipino night, I don't remember the actual game day experience. I got there, I walked in the building, I got to my seat, walked around the concourse, but there's no activation happening. What, you got mascots walking around a couple times, beating their, like, what is happening to game day experience? They cruised on fan excitement and the energy that we brought to the arena early, and they didn't capitalize. Like, they were 10 years behind on getting projection on the ice.
Yeah.
Like, they think that's an advancement in game day experience in a small market. They need to be active. Look at the Bombers game day experience. Folks get there an hour and a half before to tailgate or to go into the fan zone section. You know, I'm getting there 2 minutes before game time to get into my seat because I ain't spending an extra $1 early if I don't have to. Like, there's nothing that draws me to a game that's memorable unless they friggin' win. And that's not good. It should. Nope. That's not worth my $80 to sit up in bloody section 300.
That's the thing. Tickets aren't cheap, and you could say they're the second lowest in Canada or whatever they are, but you know, it's a lot to pay. And if you want to bring a family or go on a date or whatever, it costs you a lot. And like you say, the experience is not there. And they knew for those 10 years they didn't have to do anything because the crowd was bringing it themselves. Like, the crowd was chanting "Go Jets, go" before they even came out on the ice in that first couple seasons, man. Like, they didn't need to do anything. And that's where they dropped the ball. You know, and they didn't need to do sales. So they didn't have salespeople. So they couldn't figure out, you know, what's the best way to bring more people in. They had a 10,000 person wait list, you know, and they just thought, hey, this is going to live forever, which is weird because it's a business and Chipman's own car dealerships and all that stuff. So you thought you'd think he would look, okay, at some point this is going to run out. What are we going to do to make sure, right? And the pandemic hit, and it you know, and it caused a lot of problems for them. And I know a lot of people are still bitter that they can't go outside for a cigarette. Apparently that's a league thing too. You can't go, you know, to a tavern anymore and get a cheaper beer. And all that. Once you're in, and if you can't leave for any reason. And then the pandemic, the masks, the vaccine mandate, all that stuff drove people away, right? For whatever reason that they had to do it. So it's going to take some time. Don't threaten us. No, that's what I hate. Look at the Bombers had some rough seasons where attendance wasn't good, and they made their experience better there, like you were saying. So everyone's going. 30,000 people are showing up. Give this time. Don't threaten us. That's what I hate is the threats. It's the freaking threats.
Exactly. This is not threats. Come on. The reality of it, please. You have a very rich man backing this team, and y'all got to put the proper effort into knowing your market, which you failed on. And it's funny when people say, well, this guy's a car dealer, that he should know business. Dude, when you buy a car, they only want to see you there one time. They're not looking for repeat business over and over and over again. You might ask for a referral or whatever, but one time cashed in, get the F out. So that's not the philosophy that they need. Yeah, exactly. We got you for a contract, 5 years, season tickets. No? Yeah. Okay, get that. We have a waiting list. Well, no, you don't know more. Yeah. You don't know more.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Go ahead. Sorry, go ahead. No, go ahead. You go ahead.
Look at Calgary. You talk about price of tickets in that building. Like you can get $30 tickets to get in the building. It's like hella high, and it might be like being in the back of Winnipeg Arena back in the day, but you're in the building, and people who are paying $30 to get in the building, they're excited. And they'll have a couple more beers and they'll add to that environment. And in their 200 section, they have comparable seats to the back seat of the Jets arena. It doesn't make sense. They have to know their market in regards to pricing as well.
Yeah. Yeah. They alienated fans. They made things restrictive. Even when we got our tickets, it was like, okay, be careful who you give your tickets to, because if anything happens, you're kicked out of here. So, and then if you called to question or complain anything, it'd be like, well, that's okay. You can get out of it. Well, we have other people waiting, and they never fixed those issues. Like a lot of people complain about the customer service that they got when they called in or made any kind of complaint to the Jets, 5-10 years ago. So
yeah,
there's some work to do, and they got to work at it and just stop threatening us.
Hey, remember when you were online trying to get season tickets? Remember that? Remember that passion? Well, sorry, that's run out.
Yeah, it's gone. It wasn't going to last forever.
Oh, goodness, we let it all out there.
Plus the issues with the teams over the last few years. They weren't they had star players, but they couldn't get along. They weren't advancing far in the playoffs. People were tired of Maurice, and they just kept him in there. People are tired of Chevy. Yes, he's turned things around this year, but it's just like you keep guys in there and nothing changes. So yeah.
So much to fix.
I don't want to lose a team. Nobody in the city wants this team to leave again, but yeah, I mean, change some things up, make it better, reduce some ticket prices if you can even.
I would like to know, has Moose attendance been dwindling just as much? Because it's definitely a more family-friendly priced event. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So if those are comparable, then sure, blame the market a little more. But if the Moose hasn't dropped as much, I think then you got to relook at what your pricing model is and what your relationship with the community is.
Yeah, I don't think it's dropped too much in terms of their tickets. I haven't heard anything or seen anything, so
I got to look into that. Or fans, if put those stats down low in the comment sections. I know you're loving talking about attendance. Is Dustin Byfuglien Jersey rafter worthy? Go ahead.
You know what? I for the type of guy he was and the player that he was, I would say yes. And what he brought to the ice, if you look at stats, they weren't the greatest, really, in terms of what he put up. Like his total points were 525, and I think most of that were with the Jets. So yeah, I may be hard pressed to put him up there in terms of stats, but I'd put him up there just for what he brought to the ice, the excitement he brought. How he learned to be a leader in his last few seasons and carried this team on his back sometimes, and even through that playoff run, he was amazing. So yeah, I'd probably end up putting his jersey up there.
I'd absolutely put him up there. He's one of my personal favorites, so I'm a little biased there. But it's not always about. Is Thomas Steen's jersey up there?
Yeah, I believe so.
It's not always about stats, and it's clearly not about personal accountability. So I think Dustin Byfuglien, definitely, you smiling now. You're like, what? Did you really just say that? I think Dustin Byfuglien should be up there. He just had a brand of hockey that was fun. And he's just one of those personalities. Like he wasn't all about, I need to be loved, or he just did his job and he loved doing it.
Would he even come here if they did? Like, I haven't seen the guy. I mean, besides posts here and there, it's like he turned into, what's that thing that everyone searches for in the bush? I can't even think of what that is. It's mushrooms? Hey,
mushrooms?
No, like that big hairy dude.
Oh, Sasquatch.
Yeah, it's like he's turned into that.
Yeah, no doubt.
He just disappeared. He's never been back for a game. He's never been anything close to Winnipeg.
They got to bring him back for like May, June around fishing season.
Yeah, it's
where there's
crazy.
something going on, and then just bring him in. And hey, we're gonna raise this jersey. You gonna be there? It's like, yeah, fine.
Unreal. Yeah, it's crazy. I haven't seen him back in the city since nothing. Not even at a game. Not even in a press box. Nothing. Not press box. That's sweet.
So awesome, whatever. That dude. Okay, quick shots. You ready for this?
Yeah, let's do it.
Russel Wilson wants 2 SBs in the next 5 years. What team can he do that with? Of course, I'm going to say Steelers, young talent, possible top 10 defense. I know they won't do it, but Steelers.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to agree with you because I was looking through at some teams that had opportunities, and Steelers would probably be the one closest. They always got a good D. If they can figure out the running game and that old line and have Wilson there to not be the guy, but to run an efficient offense, I think they could end up doing it. I don't think he's going to win anywhere, but I think that would be the best spot too.
Right away. Not the Cowboys?
No, they're not getting ready to Dak Prescott. They're so stuck with that guy, man.
You going to keep Brandon Aiyuk, or you going to trade him right now?
I'm going to keep him, especially that the salary cap is going up the way it is. They can definitely afford him, and he's a good first or second receiver, depending on how they wanted to look at it with Debo and Aiyuk. But yeah, I'd keep him. Unless someone made you a crazy offer.
Yes, I say trade him. He's on a rookie deal. He's at the best trade value you have right now. I don't think Debo is going to be broken that much anytime soon. They still have Kittle. They still have CMC. And they had that number 15 that played receiver that really looked good.
Jawan.
Yes.
Jawan Jennings, yeah.
Yes. So I say trade him when he's max right now. You can get him. Bengals franchise T. Higgins. Good move?
Yes. Yeah. For sure. Yeah, if they can sign this guy long term to have him and Jamar Chase as weapons for Joe Burrow, yeah, for sure.
I don't think he's a $22 million receiver. He's a good receiver, but I think he's a better receiver because of the talent around him.
Was that the tag amount? 22 million?
That's franchise tag, 22 million. 21.8. Sorry, 21.8. It's a lot.
He probably would get paid that on the free agent market though. But yeah, that is a lot.
But I think Cincinnati has good enough talent that they can get someone cheaper, or draft someone in the 3rd or 4th round that can be not just as productive, but still can be productive. That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Are these the real Leafs?
I don't think so yet. You go ahead. You want to go first?
I didn't believe it until the last 2 games. The wins against the Knights and Avalanche really impressed me, and it really has me believing that they can get out of the first round.
Yeah, that's the only thing is, and the win against Vegas though. Vegas is hurting. No Mark Stone, no Jack Eichel.
What's wrong
whatever
with Mark Stone?
There, and the teams that they've beaten, a lot of these over the 7-game stretch have been almost bottom feeders. I'm not sold on them yet, and part of my issue is Boston and Florida in the first round. You're getting one of them, and then you're probably getting the other one in the second round. It's going to be a tough goal for them. Austin Matthews though, unreal right now, and props to him, man. As much as I like seeing Canadian players do better than American players, man, he is right now on top of his game.
He's crazy.
Yeah.
And it's crazy what's going on in Florida there. I know my camera's been a bit fuzzy. Don't worry about it. But Paul Maurice is having fun in Florida. And they're not lucking it out like last time with the President's Trophy. I think they're legit. Yeah,
he's always good for the first few seasons. We see where it goes after that.
He's got to get that cup now.
No, he doesn't.
Oh, my goodness. Is Jennifer Jones the GOAT of women's curling?
Yes, for sure. 6-time Scotties champ, 2-time world champ, Olympic gold medalist, 9 Grand Slams. I mean, I don't watch a lot of curling, so I don't even know what a lot of these things are, but it's tops in the world. And yeah, she was doing it for so long.
Olympian, medalist, like from the St. Vital Curling Club. That's kind of one of those questions where it's like, of course she is, but we had to shout her out because she's Manitoban and all time and just had her last Scotties.
And almost won it too.
Yeah. Effing around and just won it. Almost won it.
Yeah, exactly.
Manitoba Sports Hall of Fame is there a waiting period for that Hall of Fame?
I don't know, but do you really have to wait on this?
No, just put it in.
No, exactly.
Yeah, it's one of the greatest in Canadian history, not just Manitoba.
Yeah.
Canadian history.
Well, in world history too, really, not just Canada at all, right? So
absolutely dominant. Benny, do you have anything to say to our friends?
Good to be back. It's been a while since we did this. Thanks a lot for listening. Don't forget, subscribe and follow, and have a good week.
And in the words of Michael Jordan, I don't even know if that dude's well respected. Do you know there's a tour going on in Australia? What was the documentary that they did again?
The
and it doesn't matter. It's called the No Bull Tour.
Oh, okay.
It's called the No Bull Tour, and I think it's Scottie Pippen, Luke Longley, and someone else. And I think they're going to speak. Oh, Horace Grant, and I think they're going to speak against that documentary. But in the words of that guy,
against the Last Dance documentary.
Yes.
Oh wow.
They're going to say some real shit, apparently.
Ooh,
exactly.
I love the
words of that tyrant, Michael Jordan. I didn't call him a tyrant. I'm just saying. Never say never, because limits, like fears, are often just illusions. Hey, friends and neighbors, don't forget to check us out online on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter at Ray Benny Sports. And don't forget to check out our YouTube channel. Leave a like, leave a comment, tell us what you think.